Good afternoon and good morning to everyone that's still with us this afternoon. My name is Chuck Jerome. I'm Vice President of Business Development with BAASS Business Solutions. And today, at this time, I'm happy to talk to you about accelerating success for professional services organizations. So what we're going to do is take a look at Sage Intacct as a solution for professional service companies. And just a reminder to everyone that you can enter your questions in the GoToWebinar application down in the chat box on the right there, and we'll be happy to answer those questions for you at the end of our session. So I thought we'd start off this afternoon by taking a look at a few different case studies. I think it's important to see companies that are similar to you, that have had similar challenges and goals and what they're trying to accomplish, and just see exactly what's happened to them through this journey of implementing Sage Intacct. So we partnered with these companies and provided them with a solution that showed them value and provided outcomes that had definite, clear, and measurable results. So we had a life sciences company, and this group is Haleron, who lacked great visibility in their projects and couldn't facilitate the changes that they wanted to make in their organization. So by switching them to a more advanced financial management system, this allowed them to adjust how they could charge for their projects. And in the end, after the first year, they actually discovered over $4 million in hidden profit from this. They were able to increase the margins of all of their projects, had a faster close at the month end as well, and also increased their utilization. All of this leading to a much greater cash flow in their organization. The next company was a staffing company by the name of Training Pros, and they used to take over a week to actually process every one of their payroll runs. And this was due to the manual processes that they had in place. And now they've reduced that actual payroll time by 90% and taken it down to just a few hours. Another HR company, which is Tandem HR, was able to reduce their monthly close and save hours and actually increase their EBITDA by nearly 200%. And reducing their close by 20 days offered a lot of advantages, not only to the management and the executives, but also to the investors of the company as well. So what all of these companies actually have in common, and that is the fact that they had implemented Sage Intacct. On the surface, they seem like they are different companies within different industries, but they're all professional services companies who move from a very ragged, non-integrated type system to a completely fully integrated financial management system and using Sage Intacct. So over the number of years that we've been working with professional service firms, we found a very common group of business challenges. And I'm sure if you're interested in this presentation today, you may very well be in the same situation. So manual processes. As our business grows and evolves, we typically tend to put manual processes in place first before we automate anything. The problem is these processes go into play and we use them for a period of time and then we continue to use them. Or if we get to a point where we realize that we do need to automate something, we'll go out and we will select a system to be able to manage that part of our business and use it. But there's a disconnect because there's no integration between that system and the other systems in our business. So as an example, something like timesheet entry. We maybe move from paper and we then go to Excel, and then from Excel, we move to a timesheet application because we found something that was free, but looked like it could do the job that was on the internet. people start using that, but then there's that disconnect. There's no visibility from that system into other areas of our business. And in the end, we still have to transpose that information from that application into our billing system or into our project management system. So these companies have lack of visibility. They're duplicating their data entry on a regular basis. Of course, no integration of that at all. There's complete lack of control through this process. And then there's data inconsistencies. So we end up with information on a client that's different in one system than it is in the other, as opposed to having a single source of truth. And this type of environment, what it ends up creating for us is poor reporting. Again, because for us to actually put together an appropriate report that we need, maybe it's the status of all our projects or where we're at with respect to billing, we may have to go to multiple systems to pull this information together. By the time we do that and actually get to the billing process and get the invoices out, this is further down the line, and it creates problems for the business. One, it creates a challenge in the relationship you would have with the customer because it's delayed, but it also impacts your cash flow as well. And ideally then, if we have poor reporting and data that isn't aggregated, then we have no way of being able to provide insightful reports, timely reports, or dashboards in our organization. So those are the challenges that we have internally. Then beyond that, we may actually have external forces or challenges that are impacting our business externally. And this tends to come from competition and everything else that impacts our business. So common trends that tend to be happening today is the fact that, especially due to COVID, we have situations where our pipelines may be shrinking. And we have a backlog of projects because people aren't moving forward with certain things, even though they're partway in play. We also have a challenge with billable utilization. And we know that utilization is critical to a professional services business because every extra dollar that we acquire through that billable resource allows us to drop it to the bottom line of the organization. And of course, project margins are becoming tighter in situations, again, because the competition is so high. So all of these trends, whether external forces or the challenges we've created for ourselves internally, are all things that we need to compete with. And if we're going to become that ideal organization that we envisioned for ourselves, and certainly to be able to make ourselves attractable to the better employees, and of course to attract the best clients and grow the organization. When we look at one day either selling our organization or growing it through mergers and acquisition, we need to have the appropriate systems in place to do this. We simply can't rely on the backs of employees to be able to pull all of this together. It's just not a scalable situation. By putting together an integrated financial management system, it allows us to track our profitability and cash flow, get the proper reporting, be compliant, have an idea of what our project costs are so we can make our projects more profitable. And of course, if we want to expand, we need to do that with systems in place, including budgeting and planning. So these are the types of things that we need to have in place to be able to strive as a best-in-class type organization. So these are some of the organizations that BAASS and Sage Intacct has helped over the last while by implementing the Sage Intacct Professional Services Automation Solution. The last two columns on the left-hand side are Canadian organizations that we've recently done projects with. You may recognize some of these companies. So let's take a look at kind of where you're at now and where we want to be ideally, and then we'll take a look at the Sage Intacct solution itself. So I like this workflow because as a professional services organization, this really does kind of paint a picture as to the state of many organizations. So step one in our quote to cash life cycle is actually creating the quote. We may do that manually, we may do that in our CRM system, but a quote is created. And then once that quote is accepted by our customer, then the sales team passes that off to operations, who then rekeys that into the financial system. And then from there, the information goes down to our project team, where our project manager will key it into our management tool. And then that goes off and the project is initiated by the project manager. And then all of the team is working towards doing what they need to do on the project. So the project manager is actually trying to do his resource scheduling in another tool. So he's entered it in there and trying to build out the breakout of the project itself. Finance is taking all of the timesheets and expense reports from all of the consultants and employees that are providing the services, and they're entering it in to their processing system to be able to do the billings. So you can see we've had multiple hands touching this information and re-entering all of this information. Ideally, somehow we end up generating invoices, and at the end, we've got to figure out manually which of these projects can we actually recognize revenue on so that we can reflect revenue in our income statement as well, because everything else leading up to this point has been providing us with costs. And once we've got that completed, we need to close the books. And ideally, once we get those invoices out, we need to collect. And that delay in the billing process, as I mentioned, impacts our cash flow. So the challenge is, with this type of system, what do we do when we get more customers, more projects? If we add more resources and we grow as a company and maybe add on more locations, more services, and spin off that way. It's very difficult for us to be able to maintain our business that way. All we end up with is increased costs. We got less visibility. Again, we're actually compounding the problem as we try to grow. So until we introduce automation into the situation, we have no way of controlling this anymore. So an ideal modern cloud financial management solution is just this. It will automate that complete end-to-end quote to cash lifecycle for us. It will manage our projects, manage our resources, put together all of the costing against every project, and allow automated billing based on the way we need to do it, whether it's time and materials, milestones, whatever percentage completion, whatever that may be. It's flexible enough to do that. Allow us to manage our resources and our budgeting around that. And of course, a good financial management system is also going to have artificial intelligence in there to assist you through time collection and month-end close, all of those areas where system can grow with intelligence and assist in identifying exceptions and potentially those items that we have missed. So let me take you through the way Sage Intacct works in this quote to cash lifecycle in a professional services organization. So your sales team may be using Salesforce. And in there, if they have the ability to manage their contacts and accounts and then create opportunities. So as they're working with a customer or prospective customer, they have their opportunities of which they'll create quotes. So they put a lot of work into the process thus far. Why does it make sense for us to have to rekey that? Well, with Salesforce, you can turn a quote into a project within Salesforce itself. With the integration to Sage Intacct, it allows us to automatically create that project in Intacct for you without having to redo it. Now a project manager has many details in the system already of which they can continue to build out that project for them. Based on the rules that you put in place with respect to invoicing, the system will automatically do the invoicing for you and get that out to the customers so that you can get cash in hand much quicker. All of this is the revenue cycle, and ideally at the end will also drive your revenue recognition. So again, this is fully automated for you, and you're not having to do this manually. So everyone has access to the project information and the financial information based on the security profiles and rules that you want to define for them. And the beautiful thing is that information can also be pushed back into Salesforce so that your sales account managers have access to see the status of those projects as well. And by having a fully integrated solution, you now then have the ability to aggregate that information to produce the key performance indicators that you need as a company to be able to manage and drive your business. Project profitability, utilization, aging, revenue by employee. These are just a few of them, both operational and finance, that you can use. So looking at the Sage Intacct solution itself, it's made up of a few different components. You have the core system, which is your financials with your general ledger, receivables, payables, your cash management, budgeting, purchasing, and reporting. And then we build onto that the industry layer, which is for professional service firms, our project costing, project billing, resource and project management, and time and expense management as well. So all of those make up the PSA solution for Intacct. As I mentioned in the previous slide, we have that ability to integrate Salesforce. So right from the beginning, quote, we can actually drive that information through into the project system itself. And as a best-in-class financial management system with a strong API, which is the capability to integrate to other best-in-class applications, if you need greater capabilities in time and expense or project management, we can add products like Nexonia or Kimball to be able to do that. So let's take a quick look at some of the dashboarding capabilities and visibility that you have into your projects with Sage Intacct. So here we're showing a project information screen that has all of the key information, both financial, budgeting, actual information, everything that you need. So that's your central hub for all of your projects. And this information is available, again, to those people that you want to provide it to, whether that's to just your project managers or all of your project team. And as the time and expenses and that are entered in and accrued into the project, of course, we have a number of dashboards in the system, so various roles in the organization can see the status of information at any point in time. So for a project manager, they have their KPIs, and these are the performance cards in the top, the little rectangles with values. So revenue, gross profit, margin, billings, and we can see that we also have a visual showing that the billings are actually down, labor costs and project expenses. And then of course, for their dashboard, we have other reports. Anything with a blue value, we can actually drill down in. And then we have other areas so that if they want to drill into an actual project, they can see resources, schedules, people that have been assigned to a project, or they can actually review timesheets and expenses as well. So all of that at their fingertips right off of their dashboard. The Sage Intelligence Time application is one that allows the people in the field doing the work, recording their time, do so with the assistance of artificial intelligence. And what it does is it keeps track of all of your activities throughout the day and really brings to light those activities that you may actually forget about. And with that, we can end up with revenue creep. So if we save 1 hour a week over 50 weeks a year at $200 an employee, we can actually recover over $10,000 per employee. Again, other dashboards for the CFO, their KPIs that are important to them, profit and loss, revenue, all of these can be built by the end user. So it doesn't require the assistance of BAASS or Sage to do this. You can generate all of these yourself as well. VP of Operations has his own dashboard, his own metrics, financial and utilization information as well. And of course, the project accounting side of things, all of it there is in great detail. As you can see in this particular dashboard, we're using coloring as well, representation. So very similar to Excel, where you can actually do conditional type formatting. All of these things, again, out of the box, and also your ability to develop your own dashboards as you see fit for your organization. So the key here with a professional services automation tool is to have something to gain control back of your products, provide that visibility, increase your productivity so you get more revenue. And of course, if you're growing as an organization, consolidations, if you have multiple companies, are also possible in this. So just quickly want to touch base on industry recognition. Actually, first I'll start with that of customers. So the G2 website is similar to something like TripAdvisor. So if you're going on a trip, you may look at that website and say, I really want to see what this resort's like and what other people's experiences were. Well, G2 Crowd is the same type of website, but for end users to review software applications. And for the last 5 years, Sage Intacct has been ranked #1 in customer satisfaction for cloud financial management solutions. A great achievement for us to have because it's coming from the end user. It's based on their experience of using the application, dealing with Sage, and dealing with their solution provider like BAASS. From an industry perspective, Gartner has ranked Sage Intacct for the 4th year in a row, the #1 in key capabilities required by lower mid-size enterprise to manage their business with an application. So 2 #1s, one from the industry, one from the end user. So all of these things add up to help you, whether you are growing as an organization, you're expanding your client base, you're offering new service or entering into new markets. All of these features in an integrated fashion can help you get there. So thank you very much for your time and your attention to this afternoon's presentation. And at this point in time, I'd be happy to take on any questions that we may have.
The first question I have here is, you mentioned a marketplace where applications can integrate to Intacct are available. What is the URL?
Okay, yeah, great question. So I did mention about a couple of different products that are available, and these are available on the Sage Intacct marketplace. So again, if you're looking to expand the capabilities of the system and you want to look at best-in-class applications that already have integrations built out for Sage Intacct, you can go to marketplace.intacct.com. Again, marketplace.intacct.com, and you'll go in there and you'll find hundreds of applications that are there to help automate all areas of your business. But the best part is they integrate to Sage Intacct already. Thank you.
And I have another question here. What resources are available to find out more about Sage Intacct?
Okay, so with Sage Intacct, of course, they have a tremendous website. And so you certainly have the opportunity to go to the website to have a look at either their information on their products. They also have a great deal of information by industry, like the presentation that we've done here today, specifically for professional services. There's a lot of information there. They also, you have the ability to sign up for webinars that are industry specific as well. And there are customer case studies and product tours, all those types of things that you can sign up for. What I suggest you do is certainly reach out to either myself or your BAASS account executive, and we can help you through that journey. If you're serious at looking at Sage Intacct, then I suggest that you reach out to us, and we can take some time to kind of go through what your current challenges are and the impact on your business, and how we potentially can eliminate those challenges with a new solution for you, but assist you through that evaluation process, defining your requirements, and then actually taking you through a process to see a demonstration of the system, and specifically addressing those challenges that you have, and so that you can see the benefits of the system in your light. So that's important, and that's a service that we provide to all of our clients and prospective clients, and is complimentary.
That is all the questions we have. So thank you again for presenting, Chuck. And we're going to take another 15-minute break and rejoin at 2:50 for the last session of the day, integration with Salesforce and Sage CRM, or Nexonia Solutions for Sage Intacct on track 2.
Terrific. Thank you very much, everyone. Enjoy your afternoon. Bye-bye.